Hey, Shalom, Mishala. Minister of Zod, but give no praise to Yahweh, Shem Yahshua, Bashem, Makakudash. Double honors the apostles of GMS and honesty, brothers doing the work in truth, war, sincerity. This one, through the spirit the other day, kind of dawned on me. I was watching, the prior, the question, this Q&A thing that they do every day, government Q&A that they do to talk about this pandemic, right? And they were basically thanking religious people, right? So Amalek, Ishmael, and what do you call it? These so-called Christians for basically refraining from gathering and linking up, doing their high holy days, and through the spirit, I was oh shit, Barak the Abba Shem Shai, Hashem Kudash, because great millstones seem to have been the only ones to have been able to really, observe, their high holy days like that, right? And that being the Passover, right? Because Amalek, they weren't able to, congregate together, right? As they normally would. I mean, yeah, Amalek really just do what they want. But on a mass scale, you go to which place in America, they weren't technically allowed to link up and observe their, what do you call it, observe their Passover. Other Israelite groups weren't able to hold their Passovers, right? What do you call it? The Christians weren't able to hold it, to basically congregate together for Easter, right? And these Muslims aren't able to go to each other's houses and congregate for Ramadan and all of that sort of stuff as they normally would, right? And that's just a sign to me, once again, I mean, we through the spirit, for revealing this truth to me and, to all the brothers watching this video, because that there for me is proof that this is the truth. That's another example of proof, rather. Let me say it like that, right? No one else was really able to do their thing like that, man, right? So all the scriptures say, abroad is the way, right, that leadeth to destruction, right? Enter ye in at the straight gate, right? Why? Because it's the fact that we're here, right? Because knowing you're an Israelite isn't enough, right? Knowing the name of the Most High isn't enough, right? You need to know, what you call it, the name of the Most High, which is Yahweh, and the name of his son, which is Yahweh Shai. And you need to reverence his son, right? As because we can't get through to the Most High, but through the Son, right? So, and you got loads of different Israelite camps that, believe in all manner of different doctrines, but through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Shai, we were led to the apostles of GMS, right? So that's one thing. And then through, as things progress, as time progresses, right, more and more things are going to start coming to pass, and it's going to be like, well, there was only one group that was speaking on that, and that was Great Millstone, right, starting with the apostles on down, right? And more people are going to start realizing that the Israelites in general, but more so Great Millstone, that's where the truth is, right? And Barak the Abba Shem Shah, that we found this door and not, the millions of other doors. Right? It says Ezekiel 33:33, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet had been among them. Right? And as more and more things are happening, right? Spirit is going to reveal to the people that Great Millstone is where it's at, right? The apostles were basically speaking on how I believe it was Apostle Gabar put the calendar for this year, right? And then he, spoke to Apostle Tahar, and Apostle Tahar was like, look, man, hey, it's cool, right? And through the spirit, right, through the spirit, it was Passover was put at that particular time. Had it been later, right, we wouldn't, we may not have been able to congregate for, what do you call it, for Passover as we normally would have. I believe it was like, what, 3 weeks before London got locked down after Passover, right? Because you had the Passover week, the Saturday, Passover, right, which was what, the March 25th or something, right? And then March something, I forget the exact date, but we know, no, it would have been, I forget when it was, but within a couple of weeks, we were locked down, man, right? And Lord's what, that's the last Passover we observe in this place, right? But more and more things are going to happen that's going to make people realize that Great Millstone's where it's at, right? Is it 7:13? right? It says, Matthew 7:13, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, right? So there are many different avenues where, we could have, fallen short, gone, followed another camp, right? And then, especially with the way people will present themselves, the cults of personalities, this, that, and the other, right? And we could have ended up in any one of those other doors, right? Any one of those other paths. The Lord had mercy on us that we came through, through this door, right? Because there are many different ways that we could have, fallen short, right? And, been into other doctrines and philosophies, right? So that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat, right? So you get all of these people saying, "Oh, our camp's bigger, our camp's bigger." So, oh, okay, cool, right? But the scriptures talk about a little sanctuary, right? They say, it says, scripture just said here, broad is the way, right? And many there be which go in there, right? Because you want to go by numbers, Islam and Christianity are top, right? But have they got the truth? No, right? You look at what do you call it? You look at you read Revelations, Book of Revelation. It speaks about which got 144,000, right, and the multitude, right. So the governing body of the Lord is 144,000, right, not 144 million, 144,000, right. To put things into perspective, what days what around 10 million people in London, right. So that's what, a tenth, and that, that's a tenth of London, right? And look how many people there are in the world, and the Lord only has a governing body of 144,000. Yeah, there's going to be a great multitude, right? That that are picked up, because scriptures say, for instance, in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, right? For example, that's Isaiah 4:1. Right, and that's representing a complete number of women. So basically, one of the elect men, he may have several women at the time of salvation that will be saved with him. Right, brothers that have families, they might be saved with their families, and Lord might have mercy on family members that were cool with you, that treated you well, right, and this, that, and the other. We don't, Lord's, what do you call it? The scripture says the Most High's hand is not short that He cannot save. So the Lord can save whoever He wants, right? It's up to what you read. Was it Romans 9 as well, right? Which basically quoting something I believe in Exodus, the book of Exodus, right? Where which quote the Most High basically says, "I will have mercy on who I will have mercy," right? So you will have that multitude, but when you're just talking about the governing body, it's a small number, right? It says because straight is the whoops. It says because straight is the gate, right, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it, right? So few are at this particular point. Few, few men, are, hey man, hey, we just got to be grateful that we're in this truth, man. Right? It says Matthew 13, I believe it starts maybe from 15. There's a little bit more, right? Right. So yeah, I'm gonna start from 14, right? Point is in six. Point one is in 16. Now this is quoting Isaiah 6, right? It says 6, yeah, Isaiah 6 and 9. This is Matthew 13:14, and in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, should be converted, and I should heal them. Right, which is why, amen, through the Spirit, you get certain people that watch the exact same videos that we watch, and they won't be able to understand it. They won't be able to see it, right? But through the Spirit, we'll be like, oh shit, that's a deep breakdown. For instance, Apostle Ramla did a breakdown on what do you call it, on Yahweh Shai being Isaac, right? And that's something that's been taught for a while, but certain points in the story, for instance, how Isaac carried the wood, just like how Yahweh Shai carried the wood of the cross, right? Things like that. You're like, we're like, oh shit, yeah, shit, that's deep, right? However, right, someone like vocab will watch the same video and then will be like, no, no, it's not talking about that. Why? Because their eyes are closed, right? But why is the Most High doing it, right? Why is this? Because it says, and should be converted, and I shall heal them, right? Because they're not destined for salvation, right? The elect have been chosen from before the foundation of the earth. You read that in what, Galatians 1, right? Was it Galatians 1 or Ephesians 1? Ephesians 1 and 4, I believe, right? And then you also get similar quotings in Jeremiah first chapter and fifth verse. Before I formed in the belly, I knew thee. So the Lord basically knew each spirit before it was put on earth, right? Scriptures also say the spirits of the prophets subject to the prophets, right? So if you're a prophet now, you was a prophet back then, you was a prophet at the beginning, right? And then the point that I wanted is Matthew 13:16 says, but blessed are your eyes for they see and your ears for they hear, right? So we're blessed, right? So Barak the Abba Shem Yahshua Bashem Kakadash, that we have this truth, right? And as time goes on, right, and more things happen, more and more will it be seen that a prophet has been among these people, man. This is Habakkuk 2 and 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. So these prophecies are going to be fulfilled at the time they're meant to be fulfilled. But at the end it shall speak, right? So these things are going to start coming to pass at the end when they're supposed to, right? And not lie. It says, though it tarry. So it seems like it's taken a long time. Just wait for it because it will surely come. It will not tarry, right? So ultimately, it ain't that long, right? We just got to wait and see what the Lord does. Like even this particular thing, we've just kind of been watching as we're commanded to. Right? Mark 13:33, watch ye there, watch and pray, right? Because we don't know when the Lord's coming back, but we're watching and we're observing and we're like, starting with the apostles on down, we're like, yeah, Esau's getting ready to shut up shop, right? Because what this man has done is and this is the worst thing, and this is another thing. I'll be on the socials or whatever, observing how these people are thinking, and people are drunk. These people are drunk. The scriptures talk about they stagger, but not with. In fact, let me grab that real quick. All right, it's Isaiah 29 and 10, is it? Isaiah 29 and 9, it says, stare yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. Right? These people are drunk, man. Right? And they're spiritually drunk. It's not talking about, alcohol or whatever. They're spiritually drunk. Right? They can't, they're drunk of Esau's philosophies, whatever, what have you. Because they say, oh, we should be locked up. We should be locked up. Hey, tell someone who's pushing, what do you call it, locking up and all of this. Tell them this one thing. Tell them that South Korea hasn't, what do you call it, didn't have a lockdown, man. Right? I remember I told my cousin this. Because my cousin, he's drunk. Was messaging me this, that, and the other. Right? And I just dropped it to him. I was like, yeah, man, a South Korean never locked down. Right? And then his question to me was, what were their deaths like? I bet they basically was saying I bet they had a high death rate. And I was like, nah, they got one of the lowest in the world. Right? We just go and it's because and then people then don't have don't have a counter argument to that. They just start putting in responding something else different. Oh well, they had they track and trace from the very beginning. So I was like, okay, cool. So what stopped? And this was some of my colleagues. I told them the same thing, and they was like, oh yeah, well they had track and trace, right? The knee jerk reaction. I was like, well, so why couldn't England do the same thing, right? And they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but these guys spent $300 billion, £300 billion, around the first round of stimulus packages, man, for businesses. You telling me they couldn't set up a scheme, right? But it just goes to show you that this man is getting ready to shut this place down, man, right? When the children start, man, I'm talking too much, man. But it just pisses you off, man. What else can you say, man? These people ain't, it ain't for them, man. Right? Their eyes have been closed, right? And that's it. So I'm gonna end it on this. Read it again, Ezekiel 33 and 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them, right? So it's gonna be evident in these last days as more and more things happen where the truth is at, right? All of these anti-vaxxers and all of that sort of stuff, right? They'll be holding their protests even in London, right? And that's all being tied up. This is why we got to understand that this man is dead, because that's all being tied up into this whole Esau's agenda, man. Right? So here it is, you be saying, no, I don't want to take the vaccine, and then you're immediately labeled with something. And what else are you seeing at these protests? We will not take the chip, right? We will not take the mark of the beast. There's an RT was doing a live stream of the London anti lockdown protest, and it says we will not be tracked, we will not be forced to take tests, and what we will not be chipped, right? So this is all playing into Esau's agenda, man. They're pushing that thing of, if you don't want to be chipped, you got a problem. Cause just like how these people saying, if you don't want to get tested, you got a problem. If you don't want to be vaccinated, you got a problem. If you don't want to be chipped, that's what they're gonna say. Then you got a problem, right? So we coming to the end, man. We coming to the end. It was a bit of a rant, so Salakia. But at least, Lord's Will, there was some edifying. That you was edified, man. Right. So yeah, to the next time, Shalom.